Welcome to Pink Radio with Prestige. This is the place for you, the diva boss entrepreneur who needs quick tips on building your crave-worthy brand. This is your host, Nicole Doss, CEO of the Prestige Society, a membership organization for women entrepreneurs who believe in building powerful networks while slanging in their industries. So I want you to go ahead and grab your favorite cup of coffee and get your favorite tips right here with Prestige. Hey, girl bosses. This is your girl, Nicole Doss, and thank you for joining us for another episode of Pink Radio with Prestige. Please, guys, if you find this podcast helpful in building your business, I'm going to ask that you please give us all the stars in the world, as well as leaving comments for reviews, because this helps other girl bosses find these gems as well. So please help us in making sure that we're able to reach our awesome girl bosses out there everywhere. So with that, we're going to go ahead and get started. And today we're going to talk about my love-hate relationship with social media. So I wrote this blog post over the weekend and I figured, you know what, I want to talk about this a little further in depth with my awesome Pink Radio listeners. So I will probably say that in 2015, I had rebranded the Prestige Society. So from 2012 to 2015, we were known as the Prestige Networking Group. And at that time, we were your everyday face-to-face kind of networking group. We met face-to-face every third Saturday of the month. We met from 10 to 12. The format of the meetings were 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. were all prestige business information. And then from 11 to 12 was the topic of the month that we were going to discuss. So every month we met, we had meetings. It was great. But then when we would post to social media our meetings, then we started to get questions about how could people join us. Now, let's talk a little bit about why that was the case. Well, at the time, we had a really great headquarters, and it was actually Greg Haygood photography studio in Morristown on Main Street. So we had a beautiful photography studio that was decorated by his wife. So I'm talking gray tufted couches and this beautiful granite color chandelier I've never even seen before. You could definitely say that this was something that was ripped out of the pages of Restoration Hardware magazine or a West Elm kind of aesthetic. So it was very, very beautiful. And then because Greg and Janine were, a couple that I had worked with before when I was a party promoter, and Greg was a student in art school and he would be the photographer for my events, we had a great relationship. So he always wanted to, show Prestige in a way that would really help us grow. So he would have all of his really cool gear and he would do things like, and I know I'm going to take this back, but he would, have myself, Tawana Coleman of Speak Free Communications, and then Danielle Tyson of the Prima Donna Enterprise, because she has Prima Donna everything, real estate, Prima Donna apparel, Prima Donna image consulting, you name it, she's got it. So he had us sit and talk because they were two of my founding members, and he would have us talk about what this session was about. And so it would be this really beautiful, professional grade video that would be taken. And back then we had 9 seconds to do a roundup of what a 2-hour meeting was about. So with that, we did the sessions, we, wrapped everything up, and people started to ask me in Atlanta, how could I be involved? People began to ask me in Miami, how can I be involved? And so then that became this push for us to really change how we were interacting with people and really look at social media, and not just social media as far as how could we get more people involved, but how can we use this to really tell our story. So after I had Taylor, I really struggled with how do we take this kind of, organization that we have and make it something that's online and virtual, which today is hilarious because that's just how we operate today. So, take that as a gem. Whatever it is that you think is really difficult and hard for you and you can't imagine how you're going to operate in that space, keep working at it. I promise you at some point in time, you are going to really be in a space where that is going to be just your everyday operation. So just keep working the model, keep going to the lab, keep trying, and I promise you, you'll get there. So I enlisted the help of this really awesome millennial, and she actually think she's like Forever Wild Organics. Her products now are in Urban Outfitters, I believe, but Chelsea Cannon was a godsend. So she really taught me this game of how do I use social media to build engagement, really gain some brand recognition, and with that, really get people across everywhere to recognize the brand. She was the one that taught me all about Canva. She was the one that really introduced me to the world of branding and marketing. So with that, I began to fall in love with how to leverage social media to build your brand. And I, at that point, became a self-proclaimed social media expert because I could not believe how I was able to grow so organically without having to pay for followers and without having to, pay for ads or anything. And so it was just old-fashioned go and try these different tactics and really see the brand grow. And when I got to about 9,000, I could not believe how I was just so easily going from, just starting this brand new page that was not my personal page to then going to 9,000. So I was really excited about that. And then I was like, okay, cool. I'm easily going to get to 10,000 somewhere. I'm so sorry because the 5-year-old decides to slam the door. But in these quarantine days, y'all already know. Y'all gonna hear little ones pitter patter around. So with that, I then decided okay, let me go ahead and see how I can, kind of get to 10,000. The algorithm changed right at that point, and it became harder and harder for me to get to this point of really growing the brand and getting past 9,000. So I think I got to 9,700, and I kept thinking, okay, great. I used to do these challenges called 124 for my members. So for those of you who are new to Pink Radio, I have a membership organization, and we are an organization of women entrepreneurs who believe in building powerful networks while playing in our industries. What does that mean? That every month we are growing. We grow through connections. We grow through collaborations. We grow through learning how to build our business acumen. So because my background is learning and development, I'm all about continuous learning. So now I'm at this point where I would do these challenges with my members, and we called it 124. So doing a very specific tactic, which don't worry, I'm going to share this tactic with you soon, I would be able to gain close to 100 followers within 24 hours. So I would always do these challenges. So imagine my dismay when I try this and this doesn't work. So this is probably about 2015, 2016. So I'm like, what the heck is happening? Not only does it not work, I am realizing that I am losing followers, but then not for nothing, this weird thing would happen where the number of people that I followed would just miraculously go down when I never unfollowed anyone. I did not actively go into an account and unfollow that person. So how is it that my number just went down? And I knew this because I watched my numbers very closely. So for instance, Instagram used to have this thing where you can't go past having 7,500 followers. So if I'm going in and I would follow people as part of this tactic that I would do, I knew that once I got to 7,500, I would have to then go into my unfollow tool, see who wasn't following me back, and then unfollow those individuals so that I can bring my number down so that I can go and make new relationships and follow other people who just may follow me back. So in doing that, I was just like, this really sucks because now I'm in this space where I know I was at 7,500 because I knew that I had to go into this tool to hit unfollow. And now I'm at 7,499. Who the heck did I just unfollow? And why did Instagram make that decision for me? So that started to make me not like at all social media, because then I just felt like it's an unfair game. I felt like, no matter what my efforts were, if if Instagram did that to me and followed one person, imagine that they did it to like 20 people or 300 people, and 20 of those 300 people actually followed me, and I was the account that they unfollowed. So I'm just like, there's nothing that I'm going to do. I felt like nothing. I tried to change the amount of times that I posted. So I went from posting once a day to posting 3 times a day. I tried to post content that would get people engaged, and then no one would see my post because I would talk to people and they're like, yeah, I didn't even see that. So then I would read up on what's going on with the latest and greatest algorithm, and no, Instagram's not going to give you every little thing that's going on with the algorithm, because there are people out there that will try to go behind it and break it and really try to use that information to their advantage in a way that doesn't allow them to grow organically. So Instagram tells you just enough, and then what you have to rely on are those experts who are like social media back-end geeks who understand how algorithms drive certain behaviors with systems and how things are being seen or not seen. And so you read their blogs and they're going to tell you, okay, this is what we've noticed. Some people had problems cracking it, and then others didn't have. It was just a whole mess. So I decided to gracefully bow down, hang up my hat of self-proclaimed social media expert, and just not give two, whatevers about how social media was going to impact my followership, if you will. What I wanted originally was to at least get to 10,000, because if you can get to 10,000, you're like a baby influencer. If you're able to get to 10,000, you are then able to use certain benefits from Instagram, like being able to add links to your website from your stories. And so when people swipe up, then they can go to whatever link that you have connected that particular story post to. And now it's like when you aren't even there, the only thing you can really add it to is an IGTV episode. So it's just like, nah, no thank you. So with that, I kind of got to this space where I was just like, you know what? I don't even care. I'm not even going to focus on that. I'm going to focus on what's in front of me, which is how do I create content that my tribe can see, that they find valuable. But then I started to realize that one of the things that social media does, especially with the latest algorithms from Instagram, is whenever you post something, what Instagram identifies is how fast your tribe has liked your picture or your post or whatever it is that you've posted. So maybe it's a flyer, maybe it's a picture of yourself working, maybe it's your cat sitting on a windowsill. I don't know. Cats do well on Instagram or on internet, period. I don't know why. I'm not a cat person, so I guess I lost that game. So because of this, what they say is, okay, this picture did really well with Nicole's demographic. So the more people that like it, then the more people they will place your content in front of, which means that although I have 9,581 followers as of today, that means that all 9,581 followers will not see my content. Matter of fact, if it really sucks, only about 100 people will see the content. So that really got me in a funk where I was just like, you know what? What's the point? Because not for nothing, if you are a content creator, you spend a lot of time trying to think about what is your theme for the week? What are the different posts you're going to put out there? What is the copy that you're going? If you guys don't know what copy is just verbiage, captions, content. It's words that you put out there for people to read. So copy. What is the copy that you're going to add in the caption field? What hashtags are you going to use? You spend a lot of time putting that information together. And then you think about, well, what call of action am I going to do? And so the fact that Instagram says, well, listen, boo, out of your tribe, nobody really liked it. So out of 100 people that we put it out to, only 3 people gave it a good like. That can do something to your entire ego. It doesn't humble you. I was going to say it doesn't just humble you, but not for nothing, it does not humble you. It completely deflates you because it makes you feel like there is nothing that you're going to do that's going to break this. But bosses, the cool thing about all of that is that, or the good thing, the silver lining is that when you think about social media and you think about algorithms, the awesome thing about algorithms is that they always change, which means that at some point, if you know that you're creating content that is going to be crisp pictures, if they're crisp pictures, if they're, pictures that are beautiful aesthetic, if you're writing great copy, if you're sending out, emails to your email list telling people to make sure that they stay in touch with you via social media. I mean, if you stay with these tactics over time, yes, you will notice that once an algorithm changes, you just may have what it takes to now be on the good side of the algorithm, but not for nothing. If you're looking to make impact like right away, like right now, then like I'm gonna tell you right now, social media is not for you, because what you have to build is a strategy. And one thing that strategy is, it's something that is done over a period of time. It is not meant for fly by night. So I began to really lose my love for social media. I would do things like stories. I would, every now and then put pictures up. I try to post pictures at least once a day. That was the goal. I would try to make sure that I was telling a story. And what I mean by story, meaning that I wasn't just posting, like I cannot stand when people like post a picture and then don't put a caption. What is this picture I'm looking at? Why am I looking at your front yard? What is this supposed to be? What's going on? So I love when, I can look at things and create things where I'm able to. Do you want to say hi to the listeners, Taylor? Okay. So I'm sorry, Taylor came over so I can button her shirt. So I'm going to just go ahead and try to be mommy and podcast host all in the same time. So for the boss moms out there, I know you can relate. So it's just that when I started thinking about social media, I really just tried to do the bare minimum. I did not try to exert a whole bunch of energy to just make myself crazy, because I just didn't think that it was helpful. And not for nothing, I was losing followers by the day. So even with my updates to my story, even with my updates to my actual feed, nothing was helping your girl win in these Instagram streets. So I was like, I'm good on y'all. I'm just going to do what I need to do to make sure that if people do go onto my Instagram page, they can just say at least it's a well thought out brand, or at least a decent brand. I mean, I don't know, right? Boom. Because when you fall out of love with something, like even your little bit of effort looks like a whole hot mess. When you're in love with something and you do a little bit of effort, your little bit of effort be looking like it is shining. So I don't know what my effort was looking like on that Instagram page, but I was still creating things in Canva, still taking pictures, still posting. So I was really trying to maintain some kind of professionalism or a professional relationship with Instagram, although me and Instagram fell out of love with one another. So then I decided to move into the space of SEO, because one of the things I will say is that Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest, all of these things are rented space. Not for nothing, Canva, rented space. If you don't believe me, let Canva go down and all of your great stuff is all in the Canva cloud. What you think is going to happen? Right. Because I'm going to tell you, one day I went on Canva and it was like a 404 message, which is an error message. And I was like, oh, wait, what? Oh, I got sick, like sick. So all of these things are rented space, which means that if all you're doing is creating followers, but you're not creating followers to then bring them to your website, then you are not using your social media in the right way. Because what you want to do is ultimately you want people to come to the website. You want email addresses. You want that if anything ever happened to any of these spaces, you still have a funnel of leads that you are able to sell your services, your products, or your content to. And that even brings us to the point of why are we even in this social media game in the first place? It is not to just build pretty aesthetics for your timeline or for your feed, but it is to be able to put your brand and what your brand is all about in front of a group of people across the world that you would have not have access to if you did not leverage social media. So it's merely the handshake. Hi, I'm Nicole. I am the CEO and founder of the Prestige Society. Come and play with me over at www.theprestigesociety.com. That's what social media is. It is the handshake. That is it. So think about how you leverage social media, right? Some of you don't even do anything where you're able to even do that warm handoff. You only just talk to them on social media, and not for nothing, some of y'all don't even talk to them on social media. So when you think about social media, think about that, right? So I started taking this SEO course. SEO is search engine optimization. And the reason being is that I really saw a huge drop once one of the latest Google algorithms had been pushed out to market. And what it did, it changed my views to my website by the thousands. Why is that a problem? Because it's all about a numbers game. The more people that visit my site increases the amount of people who will, by chance, purchase either a product or a service from my site. So when I used to have on average 1,500 people who would visit the site. Now on my dashboard, it looks more like on an average 400 people. So that was like, ooh, wait, what's happening? So with the latest algorithms for Google search engines, I just was like, holy crap. So I took a course from the University of California so that I can better understand what the heck is up with SEO so that I could be a better webmaster for my own brand because I created and manage my own website. And also so I can share those gems with my members who also have created and managed their websites. So in that SEO course, as I was diligently learning about long-tail keywords and inbound links and outbound links, they started talking about how in the latest update that Google decided to favor brands. And what they were looking for was so much more than just, how links were leading to your site or what quality of links were coming from your site, meaning what you were linking out to from your site. But also, what did you look like as a brand? And looking at things like, do you have quality content and quality pictures on your webpage? Looking at things like, do you have things like social media presence? So when it said social media presence, I literally stopped writing my notes as my awesome virtual teacher was speaking and rolled my eyes at the screen. How we get here? I'm talking about www.theprestigesociety.com, how we get over here to social media. And what's really interesting is how much they look for things as far as other people mentioning your social media page. So think about when there's conversations and you're interacting with other people and they're like, oh my gosh, at blah, 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 blah. And you're like, okay, guess what? Googlebots they're all over it. They see that mention and they're sitting there and they're doing a query and they're doing an index to figure out, what is the relevancy of this comment and what does this mean and what can I attach this to as a category? So that let's just say you made a bomb cupcake that looks like, I don't know, a Louboutin red bottom shoe, and then they're going to be like, so when you look for someone does a long tail keyword search in Google, who makes custom cakes of, that looks like luxury brands, then if enough people are talking about this Louboutin shoe that you posted on Instagram, then not only does your Instagram feed come up with the picture, because that first tier is usually all the ads, then any images that are related to it, and then the websites, right? So your picture's going to come up on Instagram of all your cute little luxury because you did a Louis bag cake, you did a little cupcake with a liquor insert with the Louboutin shoe on top, and then it's going to show your website. Because hopefully you're doing enough of a call to actions where whatever you're posting on social media, you're telling people to go visit your website. So they're seeing all of those hits and they're like, so they're going to put you at the top. But here's the problem with the latest algorithm. The most popular brand wins. So if you are in a game where there's a lot more people that are mentioning that thing, then guess what? or that other brand, that brand wins. That's the brand that's going to have the highest ranking during the search engine results. So what did that mean for me in social media? That meant that when I decided to hang up my hat and no longer care about my social media ranking, that meant that was no longer okay. And I had to go back to like, what is my end goal? So the one thing my end goal is to get rich quick. If it was to get rich quick, I'd probably try 10,000 other different things, not caring that I was miserable doing it. My goal is to live my life on purpose and to live a life of abundance while living my life on purpose. As long as I am following, for me, God's direction, exercising a spirit of discernment, and making sure that I'm praying every step of the way. For me, that is extremely important because there's certain things that I have tried to implement before that did not sit right with my spirit. God made me feel very convicted about it. So therefore, I no longer did those things. So I'm very, very big on making sure that I exercise a few things with my business, and that's very important to me. But one of the things that I realize is that we pour so much information out into our members that I no longer feel like it's just safe with my members. It's something where I want more and more girl bosses to know that there are certain things with their business they can implement in order for them to be successful. One of the biggest things I think that hit me, I think for 2020, probably the end of 2019 into 2020 was when I saw the American Express trend support for women business owners. And when I just saw this huge disparity, why can't I say the word? Disparity. You know what? It's one of those days where like no matter how you say it, you can't say it right. So we're going to go and say this huge earning gap between African-American girl bosses in comparison to our non-minority girl bosses. And one of the things that just didn't sit well with me is the fact that just because I'm a Black woman, basically already determines that I'm not going to have the same level of success as some of my really awesome non-Black business owners. And I couldn't understand why that was okay. I couldn't understand why me being Black means I don't have access to mentors. Why it meant that, you know, my sister next to me who's Latina, the fact that she doesn't have access to resources means that she has to be less successful. For me, the color of my skin will never, ever be a determining factor as to why I am not successful. And I felt that advocacy in every fiber of my body, that it just drove me to want to help other women who look like me and who look like the members of the Prestige Society, because we are a diverse group. So with that, what was really interesting was that I realized that I could no longer say, I don't care about social media, because now it's no longer about me. It's not about my ego. It's about how do we help more women? How do we get the brand in front of more women? So I decided that now I have to focus on 3 areas. And these are the 3 areas I want to share with you, because if you're listening to this and you've listened this far, this means that you've not got it together with the social media game. Or if you feel like you have gotten it together, maybe it's because you paid for an ad that got you the followership, but there's other organic ways that will allow you to put that money back in your pockets and then focus on other ad or marketing strategies that will help you in conversions of sales and not just conversions of like just followers, right? Because I mean, followers are cute, but once you get followers, you also have to do the work of likes being converted to dollar signs. So you can spend some, your marketing dollars in other areas. So with that, let's jump into those the 3 things. So the first thing is increase of followership we're going to talk about. The second thing is going to be increase of engagement. And then the third thing is how do you manage it all to really automate and streamline your process. So the first thing I want to talk about is how I increase my followers. So the one thing I need you to know is that no longer does 124 work for me at all. Matter of fact, it looks a little bit more like 60 in 5 days. So For someone who's used to getting 100 followers in 24 hours just by doing this same tactic, it's a little frustrating, but not for nothing. Prior to this, I was just losing followers left and right. I mean, I could easily lose like 200 followers just in a week or 2 weeks. So I'm all right with now getting, 60 in 5 days. So let's talk about how you can do this too. So the first thing I do with increasing my followers is I find peers that have an aesthetic or talk about something that is like the thing we talk about. I don't coach people who look exactly like me because I just feel like that's just, I don't know. There's something that doesn't sit right with my I don't know, my ethics, right? My morals with that. But if you are a group that kind of looks like me, but there is some level of differentiation, then I will go to your followers. So let me give you an example. If you are a group that focuses on events for girl bosses, but you don't have a membership, then I'm going to then go to your followers because not for nothing, 9 times out of 10, you might want to use someone like me for your events to speak on a panel or be a keynote. So when you do the events, we focus on memberships and we focus more on workshops and learning and how do we build that sisterhood of girl bosses. Our focuses are different. For me, I lose my way when I focus on events. I am on purpose when I focus on teaching. So, for me, they're two different things. Even for others, it's not. Because a lot of people like to get lost in the glitz and glam of the events. And they're like, well, we're thinking about events. Events are fine to go to, but you still need to be a student. Like, you need to always be a student. I'm even a student. I'm always learning. So that's a difference for us. So I'll go to their followers and I will look for profile pictures and names that I feel like kind of fall into the demographic of what we're looking for. What do I mean by that? If you are someone that has like a really sexy profile picture and your profile name is like Tasty Cookie 369, you're not getting a follow from me because clearly, and then especially if I go follow it and it says requested, nope. Because I'm looking for people who are business owners, that are female business owners of color. So that means that you not getting a follow because clearly this is a personal page and nope. So I will look for people who have logos on their Instagram profile pictures or very professional headshots on their profile of their pictures. Those are the things for the most part that I'll look for. And I will follow those individuals. So once I follow them, what I want you to, I'm sorry, I'm looking through. Okay, what I want you to know is that you can't just follow because in your mind you believe that you were talking about the same thing or stand for the same thing that this profile that you went to go visit and go to their followers stands for. No. Let me give you an example. Once upon a time, I had a person who decided that they wanted to go and poach the followers of this guy who talked about like investments and talked about insurance and all these things because they too sold insurance. They have multiple social media pages, but the social media profile that they were using to do this tactic was their personal social media page. And she said to me, like, Nicole, I'm really frustrated because when I try to go and follow these followers, they're not following me back because that's the whole intention. The intention is that you follow these individuals and then that they will follow you back. And I said, here's the whole purpose of why someone will follow you back. If you went to that person, if you went to, let's say, so-and-so investments profile, and you tapped on their followers, and you began to follow them, they then will go and they will look at your profile to say, oh, who was this person? I don't recognize them. And if you do not have content that matters to them, they will not follow back. Now, the whole point why you went to J and something, investment group was because you too do investments. You too do life insurance. You too do these things. But if you're not showing that, then they cannot see a like to like. They can't see apples to apples. Instead, it's an apple to orange comparison. So why am I sharing that with you? I'm sharing it with you because when you go to your peer or people who are in your industry's page and you are following these individuals from their follower list, please make sure that what you are showing is something that would be in the vein of that person's interest. Because if not, they're not going to see the correlation of why you followed them. They're probably just going to think somehow you found their page, and then they're not going to follow you back. There will be a high chance of them not following you back. So the whole point of you going to people who are like you and then going to their followers is because they already follow the page that you went to for a reason. I'll give you another example. Let's just say you sell bling shirts and you go to a peer's bling shirt page and then you look at their followers. You should also be showing your bling and your heat transfer shirts because clearly they follow this bling shirt profile because they like bling shirts. Which means that there's a chance they're now going to follow your page because what? They like bling shirts. People like to follow Instagram pages that are around their interest. So this is why you will use this to increase your followership. Here is the last part of this. Give it a week. Give it a week of doing this. And I want you to use an unfollow tool. An unfollow tool for Instagram. Once you do that, I want you to see who is not following you back. Unfollow those people. The reason why you're going to do that is because it's going to allow you to make sure that you are being very diligent in managing your follower versus your following ratio. So the amount of followers that you have should always be higher than the amount of people that your business page is following. Okay? So once you do that unfollow tool, then you know, okay, good. You're clean, and then you can go and try to build more IG relationships by doing this. Now, here's the deal. You will have to do this on a daily basis. I set my timer for 1 hour, which means that I do not spend more than 1 hour on Instagram a day. So that's very important because a lot of people will get misconstrued and believe that I spend all my time on Instagram. And the reality is I do not. But if I'm watching a show or looking at a favorite whatever, I will, instead of, going on Facebook and getting lost in a myriad of videos about conspiracy theories around COVID, I instead am on Instagram figuring out who do I need to follow and then also figuring out who do I need to unfollow. All right? Okay. So the next thing is engagement, because remember, the whole point of social media and the way that the creators of Facebook and now the owners of Instagram have created their algorithms are around authenticity of community. So how are you engaging with people? How are you invoking conversations? How are you getting people to be engaged with the content? So now that you have these newfound friends that you just followed, you will notice that your new friends now have what? All of their wonderful pictures all up on your feed. So now this is your time to engage with those individuals. Now, some people like to spend time to actually go and comment and engage first, and then they'll wait for that person to follow you back or follow you. I don't have time for all that because remember, I only spend 1 hour on Instagram. So what I do instead is once I have followed them, then I just go and I start to, I wake up in the morning and I spend probably about not even 10 to 15 minutes liking or commenting. I comment about the picture. Oh, that is such a good smoothie you just made. I have to try that tomorrow. Or maybe someone put when outside opens up, the first thing I'm going to do is have brunch with my friends. And I put the hands up yes, me too. I'm so there with you. So these are things that you can take into consideration as far as how do you engage. Here is the key with this. The more you engage with those individuals, the more these individuals will engage back with you because they will start to see your name constantly pop up. And then what will happen then is that they will they'll start who is this person? They'll look at your stuff and then boom, they'll begin to like and comment as well. You have to give in order for you to receive. Okay? Other things that you can do as well is make sure you're posting to your stories on a daily basis and post things that get people to actually engage with you. I just recently did a boss daily challenge from Monday to Friday last week. And what I asked people to do, I created a checklist in Canva, posted it on my story, and every day I showed what I was able to knock out for the day, as well as asking people to share what they have done so that I can go ahead and do what? Share their wins with my tribe. So, and I did just that. I didn't just say I was going to do it. I actually did it. So whoever added me or mentioned me on their story, I made sure that I added it to mine as well and gave some commentary about what they were able to accomplish for the day. You can do things like if you are a curator of, let's say, essential oils and you make different flavors. Let's say you have a makeup line and you do different kinds of lip glosses. Ask people, do a poll. What do you think the next title should be? This or that? How many of you want to see this kind of flavor or maybe it's like it's going to be fall and they want to do like a pumpkin face mask or something like that. You have the ability to engage your tribe. Ask them questions. Ask them to take part in polls. Every week, I feel like Instagram creates more stickers that allow you to engage interactivity with your tribe. So go ahead and do it. All right, so that is going to be how you increase your engagement. The last piece of it is how I manage it all. So what I'm going to include in the description for this post is going to be my link to Planoly. Planoly, Planoly, is what I use to schedule all of my posts. So no, just because I post every day does not mean that I am actively posting on that day. I create all of my content on a Sunday and then I schedule it using the online scheduler through Planoly. The cool thing about this is it allows me not only to create stories, but it also allows me to create posts for Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and now even Pinterest. So you want to be able to be in a space where you can streamline and automate this because you have to also look at all the other areas of your business where you should be spending some time. So this really helps me in streamlining it so that I'm not spending my entire day creating content and posting to Instagram. And not for nothing, like your girl has a full day of stuff that I have to do. So just focusing on just Instagram or, content for Instagram would just be too much. So the fact that I'm able to not only create these things for Instagram, but also push them out to Facebook and Twitter is a win for me. I do not, though, push out to Pinterest, but don't worry, I'm about to become a Pinterest queen real soon. So with that, ladies, I'm going to go ahead and just close this out by saying I want you to really start thinking about how social media can play an impact with your business and how you really need to get to this point where you are focused on a strategy that will help your business win in the social media game. Creating a strategy means that it's not going to be fly by night, but it is going to be over time a result or results that will allow you to see an increase in engagement, an increase in followers, an increase in brand awareness, and also an increase in brand loyalty because you're going to be consistent with your content and people are going to come to you as a trusted resource. And that is the ultimate goal. People want to come to you as a resource. So with that being said, I hope you guys have a wonderful, awesome, and most of all, blessed day. Bye.